My mom turns violent when I told her I wouldn't pay for my half-sister's education after she kicked me out of the house, but I agreed to let her sell her house to cover the lawsuit. My mom's been trying to talk to me and see me for over a week now, and I don't know what to do. I know what you're thinking, it's your mom, it's an easy decision, just go see her and find out what's up, right? Well, not really, because she hasn't been my mom for a long time. Honestly, I don't even think I ever really believed she was my mom. I guess it'd be fair to say that I was the only one who thought she was. But she isn't anymore. I suppose I should give some context before asking a random question to a bunch of strangers on the internet. My name is Alina, of course, it's a fake name, since I don't want my past out there online. Over the past few years, I've shared almost my entire life on the internet, but my past is something I'd like to keep to myself. When I was a kid, I realized very early on that my dad loved me way more than my mom did. Back then, Mom, Yina, did care about me, but that changed over the years. I was happy back then because I had a good life. My parents made good money and both loved me. But an accident took my dad away, and everything changed. My dad used to be a firefighter, and one day he died trying to save other people. You could say he died a hero, and he'll always be a hero to me. My mom changed a bit after Dad passed away and became a bit cold and distant. I was struggling too. A few months after he died, the business my mom had started with his help began losing a lot of money. I'm not sure if it was her fault or not, but after about a year, the business went belly up. It was really rough on us because before, we were doing extremely well and had money. The collapse of the business and the loss of the fortune my mom had built with my dad didn't do me any favors. She slowly began to believe I was behind it all. Not directly, like I did it on purpose, but as if I were the bad luck causing everything. I hope that sounds as absurd to you as it did to me, and it still does. But for some reason, she kept thinking that everything happened because of me and my bad luck. She started hating me. I hadn't even done anything and was so confused. When she lost the last bit of love she had for me after that, she started treating me like I was someone she was obligated to take care of, as if I had no other option. Every time she looked at me, she made a face of disgust, and I felt like nothing more than a burden. Believe me, I loved my mom and tried my best for her to love me back, but it didn't work. She got so bad that at one point, I even started wondering if I was really cursed and if my mom was right. After that, she never really considered me her daughter and only took care of my basic needs. The worst part of all of this was that I couldn't do anything. I couldn't convince her that it wasn't my fault, and I couldn't make her love me. I couldn't even run away. I felt trapped in my worst nightmare, waking up every day disappointed that the nightmare wasn't over. I'm not kidding when I say I do my best to never think about my past, it's that horrible. Every time I think about everything I went through, tears start flowing down my face just like they are now. But don't worry, I got out of it, even if I was pushed out later. For several years, that's how my mom treated me every day, like a sack of stones I was forced to carry. She never took me anywhere fun or bought me things I wanted. She only took care of the bare necessities. She made our lives miserable, as she wasn't happy and wouldn't leave me alone. I tried talking to her and even arguing many times, but she'd just ignore what I said or tell me to shut up. She wouldn't even talk to me. At one point, I got tired of it and stopped insisting. I accepted that my life would be like that until I was in a position to change it. Just before I started college, my mom told me she'd gotten engaged to a man who would soon be my stepdad. You see, she'd been dating Marcus for over a year, but she'd never introduced him to me because she thought I was bad luck incarnate. I knew she was seeing someone, but I had no idea who he was or what he looked like. It was clear he made her very happy, and for that reason, she wasn't going to listen to me even though I didn't want her to marry him. I told her I was happy for her and had no problem with it. I spoke with Marcus for a few minutes, and he seemed like a normal guy. He didn't try to impress me, but he also gave me the vibe that he didn't want me living with them, though I'm not sure if that was his plan. After meeting him, I did everything I could to not get in the way or cause trouble. I knew if anything went wrong, I'd be blamed. But, as always, something happened and Mom decided to blame me. About a week after meeting me, Mom and Marcus had a huge fight. I don't know what the fight was about because Mom refused to tell me. Instead, she got really mad at me, claiming it was my bad luck. I was so tired of everything that I didn't even try to defend myself. I told her I wasn't trying to cause problems in her life. She replied that I was an adult now, and if I did anything again, she wouldn't tolerate it. I knew trying to explain that I was just getting caught in the middle of her problems was as useless as explaining to a hungry shark why it shouldn't eat me, so I didn't even try. I started college. Over the next year, no matter how many problems came up, she always blamed me. They got married, and I wasn't even allowed to attend the wedding. Then Mom got pregnant and did something I never expected her to do. One day, she called me and said she was pregnant and couldn't take any risks. She told me she didn't have enough money to keep supporting me while taking care of her new family. She was tired of carrying the weight of my bad luck. She told me she was done with me. That the baby she was expecting marked a new beginning for her with her new family and that she wanted to keep me away from it. She said she couldn't risk me hurting her new family, and with that, she kicked me out and cut me off completely. I begged her to at least support me through college, but she refused. Well, I tried to convince her to change her mind, but she'd already made up her mind and I had to leave. I was lucky to find a part-time job and good friends who were willing to let me live with them rent-free until I had enough money to support myself. I had to drop out of college and struggle for a long time. I'll spare you the overly emotional details, but it was really hard. I ended up renting an apartment and working 2 jobs. But, as they say, with enough patience and effort, things can get better, and they did. When I started living on my own, I discovered a new passion for cooking. I started recording experimental dishes and trying recipes from other people. Gradually, I built a small following, and that inspired me to devote more time to it. I quit my part-time job and started making more videos. A year later, I left my main job and cooking videos became my main gig. A few years later, I have a good number of followers and I'm earning good money from it. I own my own house and I'm very happy with how my life turned out. Even before my mom contacted me, I tried not to think about her or her family. Sometimes I'd remember what she did to me. All I ever wanted from her was love, but she couldn't even give me that. I don't hate her, because without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'm doing what I love, and now I earn a lot. Let me tell you what happened recently. About a week ago, Mom somehow got my number and started trying to contact me. I ignored her for a few days, but I eventually had to respond because she kept insisting and I didn't know what to do. She told me how much she missed me and that she wanted to talk about something very important. She said that even if I wanted to ignore her, what she had to tell me was really important for me. I told her I'd think about it. I don't want to see her, that's for sure. But at the same time, I can't help but think that maybe it's about a genetic disease or something like that I need to know about. She made it sound like something that would really matter to me and that I needed to talk with her. So even though I'm not exactly thrilled about the idea, I also think meeting her for a few minutes might be important. What do you all think? Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe. New stories every day. Update 1. A few days have passed since my post, and believe me, I've read every single comment left here. There were those saying I should meet with her, at least to find out what she wanted, and others insisting that a hereditary disease isn't worth it if it means having to see my mom again. I chose the first option because if I could be sick, I wanted to be prepared and get tested in case I inherited something. But we'll get to that. I agreed to meet her in a public place since I wasn't going to give her my address. We met at a restaurant, and as soon as she saw me, she started crying softly. At first, I thought she was on the verge of dying because she didn't seem to be faking. It looked like she was genuinely upset about something going on in her life. That scared me too, because I wondered if she was really sick and if I might end up with the same illness someday. The first thing she did when I sat down across from her was to apologize. I could feel a bead of sweat starting to trickle down my back, so I told her to calm down and to speak slowly, explaining what she had to say and why it was so important. She said she was truly sorry for everything she'd done and added that she wasn't asking for my forgiveness. She admitted that what she'd done was unforgivable. She confessed that she couldn't live with how miserable her life had become, and she convinced herself it was all my fault. She said I didn't deserve any of it, the way she'd treated me. All I ever asked for was for her to act like a mother, but she couldn't even see that. She apologized again for kicking me out and not keeping in touch, saying it was the biggest regret of her life and that she'd carry it with her, even if we managed to fix things in the future. That was more than enough for me, so I asked what she wanted from me now. Then she showed me photos of my half-sister and my stepdad and said she wanted her family to be together again. At that point, I felt a little relieved because it meant she wasn't sick, although I was a bit disappointed for having been led to believe otherwise. She said she couldn't live with her mistake any longer and wanted to fix it, or at least try. She begged me to give her a chance to start making up for everything she'd done. All she wanted was for me to reconnect with her and her family. I told her I hadn't come here to reconnect and that, according to her own words, she had something important to tell me, something that would affect me, but so far, she hadn't mentioned a single detail about it. I even hinted that maybe either she or I could be sick because some of the things she said on the phone suggested that. Perhaps I didn't share every detail, but one thing she mentioned was that my future could be in danger because of something she'd recently discovered about herself. She said she felt very tired and weak. She replied that she knew I wouldn't want to see her unless she exaggerated a bit about her current state. Still, it was true that she felt exhausted and very weak, as the past few months had been filled with sadness realizing she had lost me. And that my future might be in jeopardy because I wouldn't have a family to lean on. I got up and told her that if she didn't have something important to say that could affect me, then I'd better leave. Her issues about how she'd been feeling weren't something that concerned me, nor would they keep me up at night. She told me to think about it a little before cutting her out of her life completely, but I said it wasn't necessary. We had already ordered, but I left anyway. At least I hope she can pay for the food after her little, in quotes, lie. Update 2. They were right. My mom hasn't changed one bit. She just wasted my time and turned a few weeks of my life into something even worse. It hasn't even been a week since my last update, and let me tell you what really happened. Not only did she lie to get me to agree to meet with her about something very serious, but she also lied about wanting to reconnect. I know, it was my interpretation of what she said that made it seem like I might be sick. But at the same time, her tone on the phone and the way she said things, which is hard to convey in text, made me think that something serious could be wrong with me. If she had said that something serious was happening to her, I wouldn't have cared as much. 2 days after that conversation, I realized my mom isn't the type of person who would change so drastically. And if she was so desperate to reconnect, using a lie as a way to get me face to face, there had to be something hidden. I knew something was off and that she was hiding something. I didn't know exactly what she wanted from me, but I had a strong feeling she did want something. So I asked someone to look into her and her family's situation. Before I could get any real answers, my mom started pushing about my decision. To buy some time, I told her I was ready to take a step toward rebuilding our relationship. I figured that, since she was probably lying, it wouldn't hurt for me to do the same. I could have left all this behind, but I needed to know what her real intentions were. If it was about money, I needed to know why she needed it. And if she truly believed I was cursed with bad luck, maybe I could just trust in karma and wait for her to get what she deserved after all these years. This morning, the person I asked to dig into her life called me and told me what she was hiding. It turns out it's a relative, but I don't want to reveal exactly who so that my mom can't find out. I had a pretty good idea that if she needed something from me, it was probably money, and I was completely right. There's a saying that if a family member contacts you after years apart, it's not to borrow a board game for their Saturday night gathering. It's to ask for money. And if I were to guess, it's money that you're never going to get back. Because at the end of the day, we're family, and families are supposed to support each other. At least that's the idea. Recently, my mom and stepdad have been going through some serious financial troubles, and both of them are burdened with huge debts. It turns out my mom tried to start another business and failed. She asked me if I thought she was lucky with the first one or if it was my dad who really made the business work. Well, I guess I wasn't the source of her bad luck after all. Maybe she just doesn't know how to run a business. The situation has gotten so bad that she can't even afford a decent education for her daughter. And I guess that's where I come in, to help out. What I don't understand is why she played this game with me instead of just telling me the truth. I would have found out eventually, and as soon as I did, I would have assumed she wanted to use me. But I guess she clearly believes she can manipulate me into helping her. I've asked my mom to meet me at the same restaurant in a few days, and I'm going to give her exactly what she deserves. I'm going to tell her everything I've wanted to say for so long, but first, I'm going to order something more expensive than last time before leaving without paying. I hope to break her heart and force her to realize what a horrible person she is, while also emptying her bank account. It might sound petty, but when a restaurant charges $1,000 for a Russian-style dish, you know it's not a bad idea. I probably only ordered the biggest burger you can imagine, some special fries, and 2 milkshakes. Although now that I think about it, that plan might have some flaws, because I'm starting to consider staying to eat it all. We'll have to wait and see how it turns out, and then I'll update you all. Maybe I even have another surprise for her. Update 3. It's been over 2 months since my last update, so let me get straight to the point because so much has happened in that time that I can't go into every detail. After everything I learned, there wasn't much left to think or consider. Sure, my mom and her family were having a hard time, and yes, I could easily have helped. But my mom had the nerve to try to manipulate me into doing so. I'm not saying I would have helped if she'd been honest from the start, but at least I wouldn't have been angry with her for trying. First of all, how dare she even think she could get something from me after everything she's done? And by the way, she doesn't even feel any remorse for what she did to me. Forget about regrets. In the moment after Dad died, her love for me just vanished because no normal person could do and say the things she did to her own daughter. A few days after my last update, I went to see my mom, and she was overjoyed that I'd given her a chance. We met at the same restaurant, and I was surprised to see that even after I knew she was basically lying to me, her act was still convincing. I actually admired her effort to manipulate me. She was so committed to the lie, and I let her talk for a while. Then I told her that if she didn't know I make videos and earn a pretty good living, she wouldn't have contacted me. I said that if she had any problem she wanted me to help with, I'd consider it, but I needed to know everything right now, as I wasn't about to get any more surprises later. It was already hard enough to let her back into my life. I couldn't believe that I had just dug myself deeper into her trap. For a second, she struggled to hide her look of surprise. She hesitated and acted as if she didn't need anything. That's when I said I was only going to ask her one more time. Finally, she admitted that she and her husband hadn't been making good money, which had become a problem since they couldn't fully support their daughter. She said she wanted her daughter to have the best education possible and that if she could help with that, she wouldn't need anything else from me. I guess she planned on emotionally hooking me and then asking for more money to pay off her debts. But I was done playing her little game. I told her I'd looked into her life and knew about her debts. I made it clear that I was willing to help, but only her. I emphasized that I would only help resolve her problems because I didn't consider her husband or daughter my family. That comment pissed her off a bit, and she asked why I was saying all that. I told her that I never got to know them and that they were the reason she kicked me out, so I obviously had no reason to help them. Then she started begging me to help her daughter since she had no other option. I told her I didn't care what happened to her daughter because she wasn't my family. I'd never even seen her in my life, so how could I help someone I didn't even know what she looked like? She tried to show me a picture on her phone, but I said I didn't have time for that and that she should be showing that picture to the bank. Maybe they'd feel sorry for her and her daughter and lend her some money. She replied that the bank wouldn't lend her money after her second business failed, because she had taken out loans she couldn't cover. And here's what I said that caused everything to spiral out of control. I told her, well, maybe the bank doesn't like dealing with unlucky people and now they need their money. That enraged her, and she hit and shoved me so hard that I fell off my chair onto the floor. Then she started throwing plates and utensils at me until the restaurant staff pulled her out. I was completely shocked and didn't know what to do at that moment. A lot of people were staring, and some even helped me. I never expected her to get so aggressive over my comment. A few days later, I found out that one of my fans was at the restaurant and had captured part of the fight on video, posting it on Twitter. A lot of people online were talking about it, and the video was circulating too. I contacted the fan, who gladly sent me the video and even offered to help. I thanked them and used the video to have my mom arrested. The video clearly showed how she attacked me, and the restaurant staff confirmed that I hadn't done anything. My mom was arrested, and she even sent my stepdad to tell me to drop the charges. I hadn't been in contact with my stepdad for a long time, and the only reason I saw him was so he could get the charges dropped. Yes, of course, that was bound to happen. My mom didn't get jail time, but she did get hit with a fine. I think it's even worse for her because if she'd been in jail she might have gotten free meals. Instead, she's only accumulated more debt. I'm not going to say I'm sad about what's happening with her and her family, because I really am not. My plan was to go to that place, order something expensive off the menu, tell her a few things, and watch her suffer knowing that her first daughter wasn't going to do anything to help her. Her transformation into a plate-throwing killing machine was entirely her own fault. At no point did I physically assault her to deserve the treatment she gave me. In any case, it's all on her and karma. And before I forget, I ordered a special menu that comes with several items. You can eat it all in less than 2 hours and not have to pay. I had only managed to try a couple of fries before she used them to attack me like deadly daggers. It only cost $100. Still, I haven't paid a dime because I gave all my mom's information to the restaurant staff. Besides charging her for the dinner, they needed to charge her for the table she wrecked when she climbed on it to hit and shove me. My mom looked like a bull in a china shop, except this was a family restaurant. Update 4. Man, these past few months have been insane with everything that's happened with my mom. For starters, she got sued by me. Imagine reconnecting with the daughter you kicked out like a stray dog, only to end up being sued and having to pay her. If that isn't a major plot twist, I don't know what is. We didn't have to go to trial because my mom agreed to settle everything out of court to save on lawyer fees. During that settlement, we also found out that the restaurant was suing her for causing a scene in front of their customers. Everything just escalated quickly. She begged me not to sue her because she was drowning in debt and the bank's interest was piling up. So, you could say I took pity on her and only asked for $7,000. I wasn't trying to be greedy and ask for, I don't know, $100,000, because I knew it would be a long time before I could collect anything from her. I even saw my half-sister during the process since my mom used her to make me feel bad about the situation. And she succeeded. I did feel sorry for my half-sister, for having to keep living with my mom. I even overheard them arguing as they left one of the meetings. I'm sure my half-sister was also being blamed as the source of all this bad luck. 2 failed businesses, 2 different ventures. Surely it's the daughter's fault, right? Part of the settlement was that my mom has to sell the house I grew up in to pay off her debts. That was the condition I set in the agreement in case I couldn't get the $7,000. Well, the house is on the market right now. I really hope this is the end of my story with my mom, whom some have even called Ninja Mom, because she attacked me out of nowhere. I thought ninjas were supposed to be stealthy, which is not what my mom did at all. She was more like a drunken sumo wrestler on a table, and when the table collapsed and she started throwing everything in sight, she looked like a beached whale. But yes, I hope this is the end. So, I'm saying goodbye to all of you, in case we don't cross paths here again. Edit. I've already received my money, thanks to the sale of the house.